Welcome to Wall Street Wednesdays. I'm the darling of Wall Street. And before we get started, please make sure you like and subscribe and share this out with someone who's interested in investing. Okay? And as always, remember, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. You must do your own research, and this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Now, let's get started. What do? Your stock just dropped 20%. Your screen is red. Your stomach is like, oh no. And your finger is ready to push that sell button. I want you to stop. Because here's the truth, right? A stock dropping 20% doesn't tell me what to do. The reason it dropped tells me what to do. So before you touch anything, I'm going to walk you through the exact questions I ask myself when this happens to me. Because believe you me, and trust me, it happens to me too, right? So my thought is, do I buy more? Do I hold? Or do I sell? Let's get into that. And first, I want you to remember one sentence from this entire episode read on the screen isn't automatically a reason to panic. It's a reason to ask yourself why. Why a stock can fall 20%? It can happen for many different reasons. And maybe the whole stock market is selling off and your company got dragged into it and is going down with everything else. Maybe investors are nervous about interest rates, or maybe something actually changed inside the company. Maybe something happened geopolitically, right? Maybe the company's earnings disappointed. The growth is slowing. They lost an important customer. Their CapEx is going crazy. These are completely different situations, and they should not get the same response, right? So when one of my stocks is getting hit, I don't start with, oh Lord, how much am I down? The first question I ask myself, is my thesis still intact? And write that word thesis down, because we're going to come back to that word, right? Your thesis is your reason for owning the company in the first place. Right? It's not a vibe. It's not because everybody on social media was talking about the company. It's not because, it's definitely not because, oh, my friend's cousin told me about it and told me it's about to take off. That's not the reason you buy things, right? The actual reason you put your money there is because you know why you bought it in the first place. You understand that company, right? And that is good. You're going to know what to do when it falls. Do your research. React second. Now, there's a couple of different doors, right? Let's talk about door number one. Do I buy more? If my thesis is still intact, then if I still believe in the company long term and the valuation makes sense, then a 20% drop to me is an opportunity, right? So notice, I said it may, right? It may be an opportunity because I don't want to buy something simply because it's down. Cheaper doesn't automatically mean cheap. But if it's a great company caught up in a market sell-off and I want more of it, then guess what? I'm going to inch in. The same business, a lower price, that works for me, right? So instead of scaring me, right? It doesn't. But darling, you've got to know what to do on your own. You got to know what you're invested in, right? Let's talk about door number two. Do absolutely nothing, right? If people understand how powerful that is, sometimes my thesis is intact and I want more information. Maybe earnings are coming. Maybe I want to see one more quarter. So it's okay to wait and do nothing, right? Holding is not the absence of a decision. Holding is a decision. And I'm not just saying that. If I still believe in what I own, and that doesn't mean I have to react, right? I don't have to react every time because that's what everybody else is doing. They're panicking. Sometimes, remember this, patience is a position, right? Remember that. Let's talk about door number three that no one likes talking about, but sometimes you got to sell. You got to know when to fold. And don't sell because the screen turned red. The facts will tell you what the reason and when to sell, right? If the same company I bought, right, that same company hasn't changed, or when it doesn't, If that company has changed and when it doesn't fit my strategy no more, if the story changed, if my thesis is broken, I'm not holding on to that, right? Because I'd like to deploy my capital somewhere else. And I'm very cool with admitting if I was wrong. I don't want to marry a mistake. Sometimes you got to take the loss and learn your lesson, pay your tuition, and put your money somewhere else with a better opportunity. Selling doesn't mean you failed. Being wrong, listen to me, being wrong is part of investing. But holding a stock because you emotionally can't accept your loss, that's not a strategy. That's an emotion. Okay? And here's one personal rule that keeps all of this straight. I separate my investing from my trading. My long-term account and my trading account. Different money, different objectives, different rules. Okay? And if a trade goes against me, guess what? I'm out of there. I'm not going to promote it to a long-term investment because I don't want to admit it didn't work, especially if I don't believe in that company anymore. Like, no, darling, we're not doing that. Okay? Know the game you're playing. And before you put your money in, know about that company, which brings us to the Darling Dictionary this week. Thesis. Your thesis is why you're behind your investment, your reason for believing that company deserves your money. And when that stock falls, don't just stare at the screen and at the price. Go back to the thesis. The price tells you what the market will pay today. Your research tells you whether your original thesis still is intact. And those are not always the same thing. Now, my darlings, let's talk about our darling dollar move before you buy your next stock, right? You must note this. I own this company because, and that reason, that's it. Finish that sentence, because the day that stock drops 20%, fear gets loud. There's a lot of noise. Headlines get loud. Everybody suddenly has an opinion. But your original reason will be sitting right there in your face, nice and calm, waiting for you. Read it. Ask yourself, is this still true? If it is, buying more or holding may be worth considering based on your research and your situation. If it's not true anymore, now you've learned something. And it's time to ask why you're still there. Why would you still be there? Right? So here's the bottom line, my darling. If a stock drops 20%, right, that doesn't tell you what to do. Your thesis does. Don't start with, how much am I down? Start with, the reason I bought this company, is it still true? Maybe you buy more. Maybe you hold. Maybe you sell. But whatever you decide on information and not fear. Because right on the screen isn't a reason to panic. It's a reason to ask why. Okay? Because I listen, sometimes I go in when it drops, right? And I want you to understand something, right? You don't have to be fearful, okay? You got this. And you'd also remember this. You don't have to be rich to start investing. You just have to start. I'm the darling of Wall Street, and I'll see you next Wednesday. And remember, if you like this video, please like and subscribe and share it out. Okay, my darlings, see you soon.